Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome
And
back to Uncovering Hidden Healing. I'm your host, Arletha Lizana, and I'm so glad to have you with us for another powerful session in our series. As many of you know, this series is dedicated to uncovering rich traditions of healing rooted in African and African diaspora practices. As a healer and educator, I've had the privilege of connecting with practitioners who are deeply rooted in these traditions. And through partnerships with Morehouse School of Medicine, Sable Women, and Permetra International, we're uncovering the ancient knowledge that has helped heal communities for generations. Today, we're diving into a topic that is not only about healing individuals, but entire communities. Our session is entitled Empowering Communities Through Traditional Healing Insights from Northern Ghana. In many parts of Africa, traditional healing is deeply interwoven with community life, and today's guest has been at the forefront of this work for decades. I'm honored to introduce Faiza Ibrahim Taimako. Faiza is a medical professional and an accomplished herbalist with a legacy of leadership in northern Ghana's traditional medicine community. Since 1989, she has held key roles, including serving as regional secretary of the Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine Practitioners and of coordinator of GHAFTRAM's Northern Zone. Faiza is also the president of the Tree Growers Association in Northern Ghana, where her work in conservation intersects with traditional healing. So grab your notebooks and get ready to learn about the power of traditional healing in empowering communities, fostering health, and preserving biodiversity in Northern Ghana. So, Faiza, welcome so much to Uncovering Hidden Healing. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. So,
thank
before we dive into today's topic, can you please introduce yourself and to our audience and share a bit about your background and your work in traditional medicine?
thank you so much. I am privileged to be here and to have this session with you. I'm Faiza Ibrahim Taimako, like you rightly said. I'm a daughter of Salamatu Taimako and Ibrahim Taimako. Now, my background is coming from four generation of traditional healers. That's from both mother's side and father's side. A blend of spiritual healing and herbal healing. So this is who I am. And then I've worked with healers over the years, like you said. I have been a child of all registered healers and unregistered healers in Ghana at large.
Thank you so much, Faiza. I mean, you had such a rich career serving both in medical training and as a traditional healer, and you've been deeply involved in empowering communities through your work. So, to start, can you tell us about the role of traditional healing in northern Ghana and how it supports the well-being of communities?
To begin with, traditional medicine um, generally is the practice that has been there since the beginning of time. And if you look at the way traditionally we call traditional healing, we call it Gbangdaan. Now,
Mhm.
Gbangdaan means our way. That is how.
Okay.
Yes. So that's our way, and that's the only way we can find answers to our challenges, answers to our problems. And so, for us, traditional healing, we look into both spiritual healing. That is where you need to go beyond the medicine as a substance. You need to seek, that is, if you believe in strictly African spiritualism, you go to the spiritualist for divination before your medicine is administered, or you are strictly a herbalist who only uses the plant substance to treat. You also either a wanzam or a traditional birth attendant. So we look at all aspects of health, and all these come together to form the group known as the traditional healers.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, that's so interesting because oftentimes when we think about healing, we're always just thinking about an individual person, and not the whole community. It's usually like one person needs help. So thank you for explaining that to us. I mean, so as a medical professional and an herbalist, like how do you integrate your medical training with your deep knowledge of traditional healing practices?
Um, Talking about that, even for traditional healing,
Mhm.
how did I become one? Or how is it that you are a traditional healer? Because for us, there are ways of going through your apprenticeship. You either born into the family, like I said, it came from 4 generations, or you are treated. You have a condition, you go for treatment, you seek large consultation, and everyone that treats you trains you. So it's not just take the substance and leave. Medicine is way beyond that. Traditional medicine is way beyond just the substance medicine. So the thing is, with the training I had from childhood, I started like at the age of maybe 7. That is when I can vividly remember. But from birth, as soon as you born, you step into it. And then everything you do is consciously preparing you towards that purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
you go through all that, you learn that, listen, healing is universal, whether it is traditional or orthodox. Once you have the fundamental pillars figured out, you can heal in every regard. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's not just the substance, it is how you consult with your patients, how you consult with them. I was taught, my main teacher was my mom, may her soul rest in peace. And I was taught, the very first thing I learned was that, listen, in consulting with your patients, do not just listen with your ears. You
Mm.
listen with all your body senses.
That's right.
And you need to be able to connect with the individual to be able to treat the individual. Having said that, I think it's exactly almost the same in the orthodox field.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I have to do stuff in that regard, all I do is I tap into my traditional training, my cultural training, and it works very smoothly. So
Mm-hmm.
for you, it is like a calling you are serving. So and so similarities there are a lot of similarities. They are the same. It's just the processes, how you administer is different
Mm-hmm.
from the traditional way and the orthodox way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow, that's a lot of good information. So many things like, one, just learning that you're going to be a healer at age 7. I mean, you said your family was healers, but, being born into that and just starting learning things as soon as you can, even like small things, and like your mom teaching you, about how to, work with a patient. I think that's so important that you learn that at such a young age. And then it's also for like, Western medicine. I'd even think traditional healing takes it a step further, because you said something key. You said listen, not only with your ears. So I think that that's what's, in Western medicine. I mean, I think that, practitioners listen, but it's usually with their ear. It's not really with their heart or their spirit. Is not a deeper sense. So I think that traditional medicine even takes it, further
Definitely.
than Western medicine. Yeah. So that's really great stuff. So, as the regional secretary of the Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine Practitioners and coordinator for the Northern Zone, how have you seen traditional healing transform communities in Northern Ghana?
One thing I can um, mention is, like, I'm taking this interview with you today.
Mm-hmm.
If I was practicing strictly traditional, I would not be taking this interview,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because traditionally, healers are not, you don't sell yourself, they say. That's how we put it traditionally. You don't sell yourself, you are a healer, and then your people are drawn to you.
That's right.
They say good medicine sells itself.
That's
So
right.
traditionally, I would never come out to say I'm a healer.
I
In
know.
fact, even to date, I am an apprentice. I learn every day, every minute, every second, you know. And healing is not like, medicine isn't exactly defined. It has to do with the situation that you're dealing with for you to be able to treat. It's different, it takes all kinds of forms. So
Mm-hmm.
it is GHAFTRAM that kind of enabled us to come out, to speak a louder voice. Like, listen, things are changing. The world today isn't the world then. And as the more we keep quiet, the more we lose our people, to all these Western way of healing and doing stuff in general, Western lifestyle in general. You know, our traditional ways of doing stuff, you still can find them in the modern way, but just because we don't speak it, our people get lost in the midst of things because they're thinking that, okay, this isn't us. So what GHAFTRAM did is it gave us a platform. We came out, we able to meet, you know, like I said, we have different backgrounds. You have spiritual healers, herbalists, wanzams, traditional birth attendants, bone setters. We all one. The thing is, we all working for the well-being of our people. And this is what traditional healing is about. You never think of the individual. You think of the people as a whole, the community. So if you're treating one person, you're treating everybody. You're not just treating the individual. So what that plan was, okay, let's get together. Let's see how it is. Because like the Orthodox field, you go to a doctor, you're talking to just the physician. Probably after that, you have to talk to a psychologist. You have to talk, it's like that. It's like that with healing. Our advantage, though, is that an individual is trained to play all those roles. Every healer is a psychologist as well as the physician, as well as the pharmacist and all that, you know. So if we speak the modern language now, GHAFTRAM says, let's come together. Let's let the world know that, listen, what it is you're going out there to seek for is very much here and more. So let's relook at things and let's do better with stuff. Also, let's not allow quack healers to penetrate and destroy our system.
That's right.
So GHAFTRAM has given us a voice. GHAFTRAM has represented us in today's world. Because, for instance, they have kind of really played a key role in us being able to collaborate with the Orthodox health system. You have at the Ministry of Health today in Ghana, they have a directorate of alternative medicine. And this is a directorate where they deal with traditional healing. You know, so GHAFTRAM has done quite a lot in that regard.
Wow, you said so much. I'm learning so much today. So, I mean, the good medicine sells itself. That's so key. I think that's so important. Like you said, you know, if it's a good healer, you don't have to do all that because people will know and people will come to that healer. And then also, you know, with GHAFTRAM, this whole idea of community organizing around healing is so important because it's not just, you know, the healing of the individual or healing of the community. It's really, you know, the organizing of a community to go for its goals, you know, to help people, you know, like you said, people want to, you know, leave, but what can we do here? You know, things like how can we make things better for our people? So I really love how the community organizing, you know, fits in, you know, with the Healers Network. I think that's so important. So, you know, thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit, you know, about, you know, your area. So in terms of herbal medicine, it's been a cornerstone of traditional healing. So can you share some examples of the types of herbal remedies you work with and like how they're used to treat common ailments in your community?
Okay, so again, like I said, we do not pinpoint a particular ailment. We look at the traditional healing setting. Our ailments are described, they are not named. What you feel or what it is you're able to communicate are just the symptoms of what is truly happening. So for us, before you heal, you try to find the unbalance. Something is unbalanced in the body system, the person's system, and that's why the person is feeling that. So you try to find the problem from the context of the community. Who is this person? Why? What isn't sitting right? So first you go out and then you narrow in. So you try to find the solution in the context of the community. Then you narrow down to finding the solution in the context of the family before you look at the solution in the context of the individual. And this is why when you listen, when you consult with your patients, you don't just listen with your ears. So you're listening to everything the patient says and even things he says non-verbally. There are things the patient will say, not speaking them. So you need to see what the patient thinks the problem is and what the problem truly is. So you have to go through all that before you treat the patient. So by the time you administer the medicine, which is just the substance you give, it comes to dress up the answers the solutions you've already put in place. So by the time the patient is taking the medicine, the patient is already halfway cured. It's like almost 90% cured. It is said that knowing the problem is solving the problem halfway. That is very common to everybody. So you really need to know the problem. Once you know the problem and the patient also accepts that there is some unbalance his or her system, that is the only time where the medicine can work effectively. So that's how we operate as healers.
Thank you. I mean, that's really good. I liked what you said, that when the patient accepts, that there's a problem, that's really important. And that's interesting that you include that, in the healing process. So no, that's good. So let's talk about the intersection between traditional healing and conservation. So as president of the Tree Growers Association, you've been involved in preserving local plant biodiversity. So can you explain why this is so important for both healing and environmental sustainability?
Well, just like traditional healing, we do not just seek we put it this way. It is said traditionally that you don't meet a problem on the way. You don't meet a problem on the way, because you have to be all prepared to solve it, to be able to solve it. Now, if you reach out when the situation isn't even in yet, you probably bring in a situation that you shouldn't bring in. So for everything we do, it's tried, tested, and proven before you do it. Now, what I'm trying to say is how we got into conservation of plants. Traditional medicine, typically, you don't do large-scale production. You wait, the patient has a problem, they call on you, you find all the answers before you go into the substance. You collect the substance in a certain way for it to be able to be effective. You don't just collect any substance. So once we got more commercial, because of course, people are becoming more and more on the surface of earth, so you're doing more. But human beings being who we are, whatever you get for free, you don't appreciate that much. So you go into the wild, the plants are there, you collect them, you bring them in, you use them. And even those days, you collected them in the right way. And so you did not waste nature. You used just what you needed, you used it the way you had to use it. But when people got into playing more to the business of healing rather than what healing truly is, it caused a lot of distraction. And that's how we started losing more and more nature, more and more plants in nature, because you collect it anyhow, you lose it, and then the next time you go, it isn't there. Right. So we went from collecting our medicines from our backyards. You just walk behind the house and you can get any herb you want. But as industrial development came, more houses are built, roads are built. Now you have to travel 10 miles away, then you have to travel 100 miles away to collect the plants. So it became very difficult, to the point where the plants were extinct. And we needed to find a solution to it. Now, our only way then was to reach the government, because then you have Ministry of Forestry, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and they were the ministries that worked with plants. So we let's go see them. We see them plant avenue plants, trees along the roads. What can we do? And then these people, mahogany is a tree that is very effective. Mostly, I would say almost every healer would have something about mahogany. Mahogany was one of the things. And mahogany, because it's a timber plant, the industrial setups grow them. So we're able to get mahogany very easily. We went to them, can we get that? Yeah, we got that. How about the others? We couldn't get it. Next time we went even for mahogany wasn't there. Then we say, can you just grow these trees? They're like, well, we can only grow the exotic species. Again, like I said, when you go into school, what do you learn? Only the exotic species. Nobody in school will teach you how to grow a baobab tree, because there wasn't baobab in the books. Nobody will teach you to grow, for instance, ebony, because we didn't have, unless it is for timber, you didn't grow it. And so they're like, okay, we will teach you. My mom, may her soul rest in peace. This is false. She said, yes, teach me how you grow yours. I would be able to grow ours.
That's right.
And that was what happened. So she learned to grow the exotic plants. And with that, she started growing the indigenous plants. Wow. And so we did quite a depth research into about 162 species of indigenous plants.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we were successful in growing them with all kinds of methods, either by seed, by cutting, all kinds of vegetative methods we used and in propagating this. So again, that's a healer. You try to find the answers, not just from where you sit. You know, it is your responsibility. You are like a leader. So you need to find it wherever the answer is, find it and use it. And so we did this, and that even helped in us being able to work with even the extension of the healers themselves, not just the Yes, so now it works well. We're doing all we can to both conserve nature and also conserve our healers.
Well, I mean, you said a lot there in terms of like just leadership, you know, and, you know, being a healer is more than just, you know, trying to heal one person. It's also understanding the environment and the needs of the community, needs of the environment, and, you know, just with the needs of people. So talk a little bit more really quickly about, like you just said, the healers themselves, you know, like making sure that they're around. I like that. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the challenges they faced was once you got your kids educated, they didn't want to have anything to do with traditional medicine. Yeah. Because they go to school. And in fact, let me use myself as an example, because like I said, I was just a kid, you know, when it started. But my mom was everything you can think of a woman, everything you can think of a mother. That was my mom. And that is how I am fortunate to still be here and then benefit everything I'm benefiting today. Everything I am today is thanks to my mom and thanks to herbal medicine. So what happens is you go to school. I'm in school. Our school in Ghana, our educational system is the British way of, you know, educating us. So you learn all the British songs. You learn about religion, but which religion? It's only Christianity. You go to the Arabic schools. You learn about the Quran and stuff like that. And then sometimes you hear things that contradict the things you learn from home. Like, for instance, I would go collect a tree, and when I'm going to collect the part of the tree, I need to collect it in a certain way. Otherwise, it will not be able to, it wouldn't be potent. But I go to school and I hear that, listen, a tree is a tree. If you're collecting it from top, it's a tree. If you're collecting it from down, it's a tree. And when you get too deep, you are becoming fetish. When you get too deep, you are becoming fetish. So you are torn between the two. And everybody thinks that the more educated you are, the more polished you are, the more you are accepted in today's world. So everybody wants to have that. But living it was very helpful, because I go to school, they say those things, I come home, I see the things that happen work. I see my mom treat and people are cured. I see her just through healing. She's an opinion leader. Everybody and anybody is there, not just humans, you know, everybody is there with her. Animals, people, from the poor to the richest person in the community. And it's like, no, there must be something in there. So that helped me settle with it. I would learn from school, I would learn from home. So for me, it was very easy to be able to bring the two together and try and deal with it. Now, for the other healers that were not privileged enough to have those settings, they couldn't even explain the practices. You know, this has to be done. Okay, it has to be A and it must be A. They go to school, they told something else. So every child that was in school did not want to be close to their parents' practice. Now, so that really discouraged parents. And you know what a child means to the parent.
Right.
So that was very difficult and deep for parents. They didn't want to have anything doing with them. What the association did was, because we were an association, and like I said, at the age of 7, I was already acting like a secretary. I could barely read and write, but they sit for meetings, and I have to write.
Mm-hmm.
I have to read to them. I have to listen to the educated people speak English, and I have to translate it to the local dialects. And I was quite fortunate because I could speak a number of local dialects, not just one. So that really helped. And so it brought people, a lot of our healers, especially seeing that, no, Pfizer is doing it. Let me introduce my child to Pfizer. Let them see Pfizer is doing well in school, but she's still in the herbal field. How are we doing it? So more healers started coming out. We even had association of youth healers. And then our thing was, okay, how can we help our use our privileges to help also the others? So we're like, okay, if you would come to meetings, well, you would meet foreigners, which they would hardly go to the interland. So we would create avenues to bring you from the interland. Come meet someone from America. Come meet someone from Germany. Speak to the person, but speak your language to the person. Be unique and know that what it is you are is what they don't have. They have what they have, but they don't have what it is you are.
That's right.
So for you to mean anything, be who you are. This is how important it is. Putting all that aside, knowing that you mean a lot to the society because you heal the society.
That's
and
right.
So doing this gave them more hope, and more healers came out. Plus, GHAFTRAM also supported us in getting trainings in proper practices, like checking your code of ethics and stuff like that. And also even commercializing, doing scientific researches into our plants, those that could be researched in. There are some plants as healers still we will not expose to scientific researches.
Right.
The ones we could, we did. And so they were making some income as well in a proper way, getting your money the right way and not just using healing strictly as a business. So all this gave them more reason to come out. And today, thankfully, a lot of the voices that were quiet today speak out and they practice.
Yeah, I love that. So it's not only, like I said, it's community organizing, but it's organizing of the healers, and education and building capacity and all those things. So, I mean, that's great. So we're going to open the floors for questions. So our audience may have some questions for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask you while we're waiting for their questions to come in. So can you share with us what's been one of the most rewarding experiences in your work where traditional healing had an impact on an individual or the community? Like give us, an example of, something that you're proud of in a way that a community or was healed.
Trying to, because like I said, for a healer, there isn't nothing like owning what you've done. I have healed that person. I have done that after, no. Or healers, no. It is, everybody came together. We did it. It's done. It had to be done. You were just a medium in doing it. So you never own any of these. It is we collectively, the community collectively, the society collectively does it. So we hardly want to say this thing in particular was done. However, like you said, in trying to conserve plants and stuff like that, and getting people to relive the right way with nature is something I've always been very proud of, that healers are able to do. Because for a healer, unless you can connect with nature, you cannot use nature to heal.
That's right.
So in doing that, a lot of practices were done to be able to say, listen, look back, at least put this practice of yours out there. It isn't just to sell it, but it is to let people see that nature is critical in human beings. Nature is very critical for us to be successful here on earth. It was God created the universe such that nature was here before.
That's right.
So nature saw and experienced everything man is experiencing before man was here. And then we also believe that God commanded that listen to nature. You know, it was here before, and the things you do not know, you can find in nature. It's one of the reasons why there's this common saying, like cures like.
That's
So,
right.
for instance, if I go into the wild to collect a plant, I'm looking at the situation I'm going to use to treat the plant. And then based on the plant that looks very similar to it,
Yes,
mostly that is the plant that communicates to you,
that's right.
and you're able to use that. So it kind of took us back to see the importance of nature. By so doing, today we used to just cut trees anyhow, you know, destroy them. But today, everybody's trying to preserve, however, whatever plant it is you can preserve, because you are able to use it in healing. You're able to get fruits, which is also because if you eat right, you're also treating yourself. So you're getting food, you're getting shade, you're getting medicine. So this is something I am very proud, you know, of when it comes to what healers are able to do with the society. Another thing is our healers. One thing that makes me very proud and sticks to it is that healers are not just doctors. Additionally, our healers are not just doctors. And that's something I hold very dear to. A healer is a mother, a healer is a grandmother, a grandfather, a healer is a brother, a healer is a sister. And once you get in touch with your patient, it is a lifetime relationship. You don't just treat your patient and walk away. I'm done. I've washed off my hands. It's done. You can be thousands of miles away apart from each other. You can communicate once every 10 years, but the relationship stays.
That's
So
right.
this is something I hold really dear and I am very proud of when it comes to traditional medicine.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. That's definitely something to be proud of. That's awesome and really great. I love that you're doing this work. So, like some questions we're coming across. So, the first one is what challenges have you faced in promoting traditional healing practices and how have you overcome the challenges?
Okay, so one of some of the difficulties we faced were, of course, there are two systems of healing. We're trying to see how we could collaborate traditional medicine and then orthodox medicine. And so some of the challenges we had were taking just in the traditional healers going to the orthodox fields as individuals. They mostly would judge them by their physical appearances. And this was very difficult. This was very difficult. You cannot be able, like if you're looking with the healing eye that is different, you see beyond the physical, like what you see in, you know, in your face. But if you're looking in today's context, you don't see the value of who the person is that is before you. And so healers were mostly offended. If they took their patients, they had to refer cases to hospitals, and they took the patients there. They would lead you, like I said. A healer will not just give you a note, go to such a doctor. He's there with you. He's telling them, okay, this is the situation I encountered, and this is it. But if he comes to the hospital and then he is not welcomed the way he should, so those were challenges we faced. That was one. Two was the language. You know, you are there, most healers are not educated, and what are they doing? Three, the research institutions, we had challenges with those also, because for instance, you send your medicine, you know, after you've prepared it and all that, you present it for research, they probably would invite you and say, oh, this is a bit too strong, you need to see what is strong in it. I probably put together 3-4 plants to fix it. What am I reducing? What component? And that. So those were challenges we faced initially. But as the association grew and a lot more of as the children were getting educated, we were able to break down some of these stuff. It is not all over yet, but at least now we are more comfortable relating and we are able to sit as partners. Like I said, at the ministry, there's an alternative medicine directorate. So you can now sit with doctors as partners and discuss some of these things.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we have a question. What advice do you have for young people who are interested in learning more about natural medicine and community healing?
So what I would say is, you see, if you learn healing, you're not only doing your patients a favor, you're not doing the community a favor, whatever it is you give in to whoever or the community, you only give in to yourself. So when you learn healing, what happens is it helps you. You see, you're doing it for everybody, but in turn, you're the one that benefits the most. Because one, you kind of you are trained in various sectors. You are able to fit in all situations, and then it is a business. So first, you are equipped when it comes health wise. Two, you are equipped when it comes to business. Three, a healer is everything, so you are able to use it in every aspect of your life. And like me, you step into the orthodox folds, and then it's not different. In fact, it makes it a lot easier for you to educate yourself in today's sense.
That's right. Is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers just about traditional healing and community empowerment, like in Northern Ghana? So, kind of speak to them. A lot of people don't know a lot about Northern Ghana, so you can tell us a little bit, what makes Northern Ghana unique, and and then just anything you would like to share about Northern Ghana.
Maybe let me say, probably in Africa, Africans in general, we believe a lot in do's and don'ts. We have taboos, and people relate these to fetish practices. There's this I learned from my elder, and I use with most of my people I have had to work with. I wouldn't say students. I've worked with a lot of people that have also benefited from me the way I have benefited from my elders. And what I use is, you see, what we call taboo are not fetish. And if we're able to learn them, it would go a long way. A simple example I normally give is, you see, when you go to harvest the plants for healing, you are told by the healer, harvest it only towards the east or towards the south. Otherwise, it's not potent. Or trace the roots to its end before you harvest. Otherwise, you kill the patient. And it's like, oh, this is witchcraft. No. Now, if you look at science, says a plant is a plant, but science says that if you ring a plant, you shorten the life of the plant. Remember, the plant communicates through the bark. That's how it transports the food from the roots to the leaves. So if you cut the bark from all sizes, what are you doing? You are disconnecting the communication, in the plant. So the plant dies. Now, that patient you harvested it for, you would cure. The next patient that comes will die because that tree will not be there. So when you hear our taboos, yes, it is also a taboo to want to find reasons why it's a taboo, because again, the belief is that once you find a reason, human beings being who we are, we try to go around it. Trying to say that, look at our taboos well, there's a lot of science in it.
That's
and
right.
let us use the science in it and stop labeling it as fetish or witchcraft. It is causing us to lose a lot.
Now, I'm really glad you said that and brought it up, because, there are some misconceptions, people, skepticism, misconceptions about traditional healing, especially when it comes to like modern medicine. Like, people think that you can only do Western medicine and that, you shouldn't do traditional healing, even though our ancestors have been doing it for hundreds of years, right? So, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's important, to really understand our own cultures, and history, and understand we have our own ways of healing and utilize them, and Western medicine does not have all of the answers. So, thank you for bringing it up. We have a couple more questions. One is, do you need any special talent to get involved, or can anyone learn what you need to know to be a healer? So how do you become a healer? Like
I said, there are a number of ways. You either born in the family, but even if you're born in the family, you should have the calling. You could be 10 people in the family, maybe just one would be the healer. Sometimes it wouldn't even be the direct, a descendant of the healer. It could be a nephew, a niece. You need to have the calling. But because you are in the family, you are around these practices, and then you learn them naturally, you pick them up, and it further enhances what it is you already have naturally. So that's one way you can become a healer. The second way is you can go under apprenticeship. You are not related to healers at all, but you feel there's something that draws you closely to it, you can do it. And once you have that feeling, if it's true, it's very easy to become a healer. The third thing is you are sick, you go for remedy, and then as you are treated, like I said, your relation with your healers isn't just a one-time thing. When you meet with a healer, it's a lifetime relation. So as you are being treated, you are being trained. As you're being treated, you are being trained. And mostly at the end of it, the healer would say, today I give you this, use it any day, and you would be fine. Once a healer says that, he has handed it over to you. You can use it to also treat others. So it's another form of training. So there are ways of doing it. It isn't too difficult. You need to have the call. You need to be true to yourself, and you need to know you're not an individual and have the whole world, the whole society, the well-being of the whole society at heart. You can be a healer.
That's right. No, thank you for that. I like that concept. If you are being treated, you are being trained. I didn't think about it that way, but it's true, So if you're being treated, you're learning, what it takes, to heal that particular ailment. That's really important. So yeah, thank you. Let's see, another question. Do you have a good story that you've seen or experienced that we can all learn from that also shows the power of traditional healing? It can even be your own story. So any good stories?
Well, which do I tell? Let's say there are lots, because when it comes to healing, like I say, you need to be able to communicate with the patient. You have to communicate with the plant. You need to communicate with the substance that you use to heal. Let me probably give this instance with my mom. Like I said, my late mom, may her soul rest in peace. She was there for everybody and anybody. In the middle of the night, she's out there. She's, in all regards, she was a true healer. Now, one time, someone had a challenge, came to her. This is what I've seen, and I think that it's probably does not work well to my well-being. And how do I get out of it? So no, don't worry. Let's see what we do about it. She helped the person get out of it. She treated the person. It was all fine. A few days after, she was hit really hard, and so she was down. It took, like, she was really sick. She got really sick. I wouldn't want to say unconscious, but she didn't even know where she was. Now, we were all around her, and remember, as she heals and we're all around her, we all know what to do to some extent. You just don't own it until she says use it. That's when you own the practice. So we are all around her, and one afternoon she's lying there under a tree, and she's like coming up, like awakening from the kind of the unconsciousness. And she pointed at a plant that was right there. She pointed at a plant and signaled that you collect the leaf. So I did, and then she signaled, crush it. So I did. I crushed it and handed it over to her. So she signaled, you dropped it in her mouth. And once I did, in seconds, she was sweating all over, and then she was back.
Wow.
Yes. And so at the end of it, after a few days, she took other plants. And then after a while, we're talking, she says, you know what this plant is? It's a very potent plant, and you should use it for a lot of conditions. She mentioned the number of conditions you would use. Interestingly, I'm looking at her and everything that happened, I'm like, this woman always has something up her sleeve. But now I can read and write. Let me check what it is. Now I go to check, and this was the pumpkin plant, the leaf of the pumpkin plant. I go to check, and what science have found out today about pumpkin, but this is a woman that never was in school, could not read, did not know any. She was unconscious. This is what came to her. This is what we used, and this is what worked. So that's some of things like that. That was just one. Another thing about her was, like I said, You handle the whole universe as one. Man is not more important than animal or nature. We each have a role to play. So you play your role, but it doesn't mean that you should be over domineering to the others. The way my mom learned their research was she stood each day studying every animal in the compound. And out of nowhere, my mom would tell you, go collect that weed. Nothing you've ever ate. You do not know it at all. She says, bring it in. You bring it in. She says, okay, either boil it, crush it. That's what we are. That's what the family is eating today. Like, this woman, this mommy can be crazy sometimes. She says, eat it. But this was a woman like that. She had command. You knew, she knew what she was saying. So she said, eat it. You eat it. Now, over the years, mostly when you are undergoing training, you will not be these things will not be explained to you. But when I was being initiated, okay, from now on, when people come, you can treat. She says, you see, when you see the goat, for instance, when it eats this weed, watch how it behaves before eating the weed. If it walks this way, it has an abdominal upset. If it behaves this way, it has a skin problem. Watch what it eats. Watch how it behaves afterwards. Study it for this number of days over this period. If this is it, it is effective. Use it first before you use it for anyone. So I realized that continuously they had ways of their researchers.
That's right.
These are all things, I mean, I couldn't learn from anywhere but a healer.
That's right. I mean, I love that, so you don't have to have a lab to do research. Yes, I love it.
Or maybe today there's a lab, you eventually get to it.
Yeah, but
first
yeah,
look at the natural signal.
that's right.
It's the most unique to you, it's the most potent to you. You can confirm afterwards, like when I saw it, I went further to see what truly would this do? Why did that happen? And then I saw that, oh, truly there are answers.
That's right. That's right. So we have two questions that are similar. So I'm going to put them together. So the question is, are there any circumstances we can lose or compromise, that somebody can lose or compromise their ability to heal? And what does a person do if they feel like their healer is not a good match? So, can you lose your ability to heal? What happens? And then what if your healer is not a good match for you?
You can. Now, as a healer, you are privileged. You are in a community of hundreds of people. It is not for nothing that you were chosen to be able to work on people with your hands the way you are able to work on people. Now, if you see it as a privilege and you use it as such, you would keep getting more stronger and stronger. But if you use it to, how do I say it, oppress people, you use it for personal gains, you use it for a lot of negativity, you can easily lose it, very easily lose it. That's why they say the mouth that heals does not speak, does not curse. The mouth that heals does not curse. Whatever situation it is, speak well of it. Keep the spirit high. Put in your positivity, it goes. Because remember, when you speak power. It works. So that's why you need to watch what it is you say. Because you say it and it will come to pass. So, and if you do that, there's a price to pay for everything you do. Everything you do, there's a price to pay. So you watch it and then you don't lose it. If you use it right, you use it for the well-being of all, no matter what, no matter what. Use it for the well-being of all, and you would always be successful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And so what do you do if you feel like the healer that you're working with is not a good match for you?
Okay, so today's context, those days it used not to be like that, because like I said, first they'll try to define, they'll even, when you go to the healer would ask you again, did you confirm I am your healer before coming to me? He would even confirm that before healing you. But today is different. What you can do is, come what may, if you've ever taken something from the person, there are two ways. It's like we give gifts or alms or stuff like that. When you give with an intention. When you receive with an intention. So there has been some exchange. You've given something to the person, you've taken something from the person. Do not end the relationship on a sour note. You've taken something, you used it, it didn't work well, part on a good note, try another. Sometimes you can even ask the healer. Now, if this is not a quack healer, even before you ask, the healer will tell you, I think you should try another person. Maybe I'm a man, probably try a female healer, or try a healer. We are operating from the north, try a healer from the south, and stuff like that. If the healer doesn't, you can ask, can I, seek another remedy? Or you don't even ask at all, seek another remedy, but never end that relationship on a sour note, because there has been some exchange, and everything happens with our vibrations.
That's right. Oh, I like that. Thank you. So one more question. So you live in the US now, is there anything you see over here in the US that we, may overlook that's actually an example of healing or traditions that we may not realize? So what do you see now over here in the US or in terms of healing?
I think that two things. Sometimes I see that healing, like we trained, are in all aspects of life. The way you talk, the way you eat, what you eat, the way you walk, where you sit, how you sit, all that contributes to your well-being. All that contributes to your well-being. You just have to do it purposefully. You have to do it purposefully, and then it's able to work effectively. So what I see in the US is we do a lot of stuff as just anything. There's nothing like just anything when it comes to life. Everything happens for a reason and has a purpose. You don't have to take it too hard, too deep. Relax over it. It would be, but know that it is not happening for nothing. That I realized. Of course, here too, I've been exposed to a lot of ethnic groups, and I realized that, listen, that's a whole lot. It even gives me more reason to value what it is we have back home more. Because I see what it is they have. I see how much value they give it. I kind of understand, and I know the value of what it is we have and what it can do, So for me, every day, every minute, I see stuff that remind me that, listen, be who you are, hold it dear, use it well, and you can be, the whole world would be in your kind of possession, in not like taking command of everything, but you can survive any situation.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of comments that say, that you're amazing and they're really enjoying what you're saying today. But we also have one that said your skin is glowing and it's beautiful. What do you use? What do you use on your skin? They want to know.
Well, for us, once a child is born, shea butter is the first thing. You treat it in a certain way with shea butter, with herbs and stuff. Like I say, we don't take anything for granted, So shea butter has been the main cream I use. Periodically, if it's not there, I use anything, I'm fine, because it's already had its effect.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's been just such a joy having you on the show today. Your work in traditional healing and community empowerment, and just like the community organizing of the healers and all the inspirational things that you've said. It's just been so wonderful. But before we close, how can our viewers connect with you or learn more about your work with the Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine Practitioners or the Tree Growers Association? So how can people learn more?
My email address, you can contact me through email, which is taimakoteam@gmail.com.
Okay.
My phone number, you can also send WhatsApp or call. It's 201-850-2389. Okay. In fact, maybe I should use this opportunity to thank you so much, because it's been, like I said, with healers, until it has to happen, it would not happen. For years now, I learned, like I said, my mom had been my main teacher. I learned from all healers I have come in contact with have been great with me. They have given me so much. I am so grateful. But like I said, you're not a healer until you asked, okay, go out there and perform. My mom passed 3 years back, and since then I had decided that I am not engaging actively on it yet until I really have to. And ever since, this has been the first interview I have had or have to talk about it again. And I mean, I am grateful. I am very grateful. It's heavy having to walk the path with your mom for all your life, and all of a sudden you by yourself. That kept me down for a bit. But well, get in touch, and whatever it is we can do, we would. I am grateful that you are the first person I have had to.
Oh, thank you. We're grateful to be the first. That's great. So thank you. I mean, this is wonderful. And I hope you continue talking, because I mean, you just have so much wisdom, and you like you said, your skin is beautiful. You make us feel really good. So thank you for that. Thank you all, our viewers, for joining us today on Uncovering Hidden Healing. And we actually have a surprise for you. So we have a back-to-back session today. So we'll be starting again very shortly. We'll talk about cultural tales of healing, Ashanti traditions from the heart of Ghana. So we're going to talk more about Ghana, today. So thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. Stay curious, stay healthy, and keep exploring the wonders of natural and traditional medicine. Goodbye for now, but see you in a few minutes. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.